And we are live. I want to welcome those of you who are here tonight, and to those who are joining us online. Today is Thursday, March 19, 2026. Today we'll be finishing the book of 2 Samuel chapter 19 through chapter 24. And so before we begin our lesson, I'd like to start off with prayer and gratefulness to our awesome Lord. And I want to pray for Sister Annalise. I also want you all to continue praying for Francesca and Julian, that the Lord will give them peace and comfort. And lastly, I want to pray that the Lord will continue healing my knee. I'm finally feeling progress thanks to everyone who has been praying for me. But my knee right now, my knee is hurting. Da da da. Okay, Delilah, what would you like to pray for?
I want to pray for everyone that's here and not here, for my family, for my future, so I can get a job.
Hey, how about if we start praying for new people?
That too. For my future, and anything else I'm forgetting.
Okay. Ken?
I want to pray for myself, my family, our economy, our society. I want to pray for everyone in my family, and then I want to pray for the Holy Ghost, and that's really it.
You didn't mean society, did you?
He said our society, like society. It's like the economy, just like prices of gas, just all of that.
That's economy, but society.
Whatever. I don't know which one can say.
And what else?
And the Holy Ghost.
That all? And Sydney?
I pray for my family, for the church, for our Nana and her health, for you and your health, for Dad.
You and Nana doing better?
She's at home. And that's it.
That's it. And what about you, young lady? What do you want to pray for?
I want to pray for myself, and I pray for my husband's salvation, for his career, pray for my career, pray for all my children, that God continues to guide them and to bless them with jobs and opportunities. And pray for you, your healing. Pray for my parents, my mom's healing. Pray for River, Station, Dax, everybody in the church, and just for continued guidance, for strength, for wisdom, understanding. And I just want to say thank you to God for all the blessings in our life. And yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, with that, let's everybody bow your head and fold your hands. Put your mind on the Lord and ask Him to hear our prayers. So, Lord, we come to you in prayer right now. I'd like to pray for a special prayer for Annalise, and I want to thank you that you're helping her through the crisis she's been going through. Continue to pray for Francesca and Julian, and the Lord will bring them peace and comfort. I want to pray for all those that should be here tonight, but Lord, for those who are not, I'm praying, Lord, that you will send us new people, Lord. Bless us with new people. And I want to pray for my grandkids, for their future, that you'll help them get jobs, good paying jobs that they enjoy, and a paycheck that they'll have a lot of fun spending, and that they'll learn how to meet new people and be blessed, Lord. And I want to pray for my children, my son, for his health, for my daughter and her family, for that you will, I don't know how to say this, strengthen that family, Lord God, bring them closer together, help her husband, I pray, Lord. Lord, we want to pray for, let's see, I want to pray for Mr. B, who's getting ready to retire within a month or so. Lord, that you'll bless his retirement and give him a long life after retirement. I want to pray for Nana and Papa. Nana was in the hospital a couple of days ago, and I thank you that she's home and hopefully doing better, and that she'll continue to get better. I want to pray that you'll touch my knee and heal me, Lord. Heal me quickly, Lord, I pray in the name of Christ Jesus. and for all the other prayer requests that were mentioned for our economy, Lord, and for the gas prices. Lord, please help us end this war. Don't let it get any bigger, Lord. Don't let any more people die, I pray in the name of Christ Jesus. And all the other prayers that were mentioned that I forgot, I lay them before you, Lord, and ask that you will hear our prayers and bless everyone that is here tonight in the name of Christ Jesus. Everybody said amen? Amen. Okay, 2 Samuel chapter 19. You might want to follow along because there's one scripture somebody's going to have to read for me. We left off our last lesson where King David's son Absalom gathered an army together to go after and kill his father, King David, so he could take over as king. Instead, what happened to Absalom?
He died.
Instead, Absalom was killed by King David's captain, Joab. So the king's army has returned to King David to celebrate the victory. Okay, now let's get ready and see what happens at the victory party. Chapter 19. And Joab was told, "Behold, the king is crying and mourning for his son Absalom." And the victory that day was turned into sadness and mourning to all the people. For the people heard that day how that the king was grieving for his son. And his people moved about the city that day quietly, like people who are ashamed still away when they run from a battle. But the king covered his face and he cried loudly, saying, "Oh, my son Absalom! Oh, Absalom, my son, my son!" And Joab came into the king's house and said to the king, "Today you have shamed the faces of all your servants who have saved your life and the lives of your sons and daughters and the lives of your wives and your concubines by showing how much you love your enemies and hate your friends. For you have declared this day that you have no respect for either princesses nor servants. For today I can see that if Absalom had lived and all of us had died, then it would have pleased you well. Now therefore get up and go speak kindly to your servants. For I swear by the Lord, if you don't go forth, there will not be one man left who will remain loyal to you at this very night. And that will be worse to you than all the evil that befell you from the time you were young until now." So the king got up and sat in the gate, and they told all the people, "Behold, the king is sitting in the gate." And all the people came to the king, for Israel had fled, every man to his tent. And all the people were arguing throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, "King David saved us out of the hand of our enemies, and he delivered us out of the hands of the Philistines, and he has now fled the land because of Absalom. And Absalom, whom we anointed over us, has been killed in battle. Now therefore, why hasn't anyone spoken a word about bringing King David back to Jerusalem?" Good evening, beautiful Annalise. Thank you for joining us. We are on 2 Samuel chapter 19. And all the people came before the king, for Israel had fled, every man to his tent. And all the people were arguing throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, "King David saved us out of the hand of our enemies, and he delivered us out of the hands of the Philistines. He has now fled the land because of his son Absalom. And Absalom, whom we anointed over us, has been killed in battle. Now therefore, why hasn't anyone spoken a word about bringing King David back to Jerusalem?" And King David sent a message to Zadok and Abiathar the priest and said, "Speak to the elders of Judah and say, why are you the last to bring the king back to Jerusalem? Seeing the talk of all Israel has already come back to the king, even to his house. You are brothers. You are my bones and my flesh. Why then are you the last to bring back the king? And say to Amasa, are you not of my bone and my flesh? God, do so to me and more also if you're not captain of the host before me continually in the room of Joab." And he moved the hearts of all the men of Judah, even as the heart of one man, so that they sent this word back to the king. "Return, O king, return to Jerusalem along with all your servants." So the king returned and came to the river Jordan. And Judah came to Gilgal to go meet the king and guide him over Jordan And Shimei, now before I go on, it keeps saying Jordan, Jordan, Jordan. It's the Jordan River. Whenever they say Jordan, they're referring to the Jordan River. So here's a question for you. And Judah came to Gilgal to go meet the king and guide him over Jordan. And Shimei, a Benjamite, hurried and came down with the men of Judah to meet King David. Does anybody remember who Shimei is? Shimei is the guy that came out of when King David left Jerusalem and he was traveling out. Shimei came out and started throwing rocks at the king and calling him cursing names. He was being rude to the king, very rude. So now all of a sudden the king comes back to Jerusalem and he's going to be king over Israel and Judah. And here comes Shimei, a Benjamite. He hurried and came down with the men of Judah to meet King David. Oh yeah. And there was 1,000 men from the tribe of Benjamin with him. And Ziba, the servant from the house of King Saul, came also with his 15 sons and 20 servants. Do you remember who Ziba is? Jonathan had a son who's crippled.
Oh.
His name is Mephibosheth, and Ziba is his servant. Ziba has been taking care of him. Okay, so here's Ziba, the servant from the house of King Saul, came also with his 15 sons and 20 servants. By the way, Annalise, let me just fill you in on what's going on. The king left Jerusalem because his son Absalom was going to kill him. And then Absalom ended up getting killed by King David's captain, Joab. He got killed. And so now there's no king in Israel. And because the king left, Judah calls him their king. But Israel has no king because now who they were going to reign king was Absalom. So now they said, well, let's bring King David back and he could be all of our king. So King David's on his way back to Jerusalem. There was 1,000 men from the tribe of Benjamin with him, and Ziba, the servant from the house of King Saul, came also with 15 sons and 20 servants. And they all went over the Jordan River, leading the king. And there went over a ferry boat to carry the king's household. In other words, the women and children, and to do what he thought was good. Oops. They went over a ferry boat to carry the king's household. Oh, that sentence doesn't go there. Anyway, Shimei, the son of Jerah, fell down before the king. Oh man, looks like I accidentally erased something, but where are you at on that?
That's verse 18.
Read to me.
The verse?
Yeah.
And there went over a ferry boat to carry over the king's household and to do what he thought good.
Oh, that was right.
Yeah, and Shimei.
Okay, you're right. Okay. I'm okay. And Shimei, the son of Jerah, fell down before the king as he was crossing over the Jordan River and said to King David, "Do not hold me responsible or remember the horrible things I did to you the day that my lord the king left Jerusalem, that the king should take it to heart. For I know that I have sinned, therefore, behold, I am the first one to come today out of all the house of Joseph to come down to meet my lord the king." Oh, I hate to say it like this. I don't know how else to say it, but what a suck up, huh? What's another way to say that nicely?
Don't really know at the moment.
Okay, well, I got my point across. For I know that I have sinned, therefore, behold, I am the first one to come today out of the house of Joseph to come down to meet my lord the king. And Abishai answered and said, "Shall not Shimei be put to death for what he did? He cursed the Lord's anointed." And King David said, "What should I do with you, you sons of Zeruiah?" Abishai and Joab are brothers. Okay, and they're always telling the king, "Go kill them, go do this, go do that." And the king gets angry. And now he says, What should I do with you, you sons of Zeruiah, that you should be an enemy to me this day? Shall any man be put to death this day in Israel? For don't I know that I am today king over Israel? Therefore the king said to Shimei, you shall not die. And the king swore to him. And Mephibosheth, who's Mephibosheth?
The
Kinson?
crippled son.
Who's Mephibosheth? Okay, go ahead.
He's the crippled son.
He's the crippled son from Jonathan. Okay? Then Mephibosheth, the grandson of King Saul, came down to meet the king. And he had not dressed his feet, nor taken care of his feet, nor trimmed his beard, nor washed his clothes since the day King David left Jerusalem until now when the king came back in peace. This guy must stink, and he looks homeless. Can you imagine? And his beard's all matted, his hair's all matted, because he was in mourning for the king. He loved the king. And it came to pass when he had come to Jerusalem to meet the king, that the king said to him, So why didn't you leave with me, Mephibosheth? And he answered, My lord, O king, my servant deceived me, for he said, I will saddle you a donkey, so that I could ride out to go with the king, because I am a lame man. Now, that's how I read it. O Lord, my lord, O king, my servant deceived me, Ziba.
Mhm.
For he said, I will saddle you a donkey so that I, Mephibosheth, could ride out to go with the king because I am a lame man. Now I want you to read that to me, the Bible. Read it exactly what that says. Because read it carefully. It sounds something like it might be something different.
Not to me.
Okay, read it. Just read it.
And he answered, My lord, O king, my servant deceived me. For thy servant said, I will saddle me an ass.
Okay. Is the servant saying, I will saddle myself, Ziba, a donkey, and what?
That I may ride thereon and go to the king.
That
because
I
thy
may
servant
ride
is
on.
lame."
That
Oh,
Ziba will, yeah.
I think I know what you're saying.
Okay,
He's-
finish. Sorry.
No, I finished it. I finished the verse, the 26.
What did you say after he said that I may ride on?
Thereon and go to the king, because thy servant is lame. So I guess that when you,
Because you're too crippled to go, or you're too lame?
it's that, I can see how it can say that.
Yeah.
Because he's saying, my servant Ziba deceived him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's saying, Ziba said, I will saddle himself a donkey, that he will ride
Because what?
on."
Stop right there. I will saddle either Mephibosheth, saddle up a donkey for Mephibosheth, or saddle up a donkey for himself. Now, the reason he would say he would saddle it for Mephibosheth is because Mephibosheth is crippled and he can hardly even walk, much less pick up a saddle and put it on a horse. Okay, now finish.
But I think you're right, because the crippled guy, is saying, my servant deceived me, saying, I will saddle himself he's saying me, a donkey, that I may ride thereon and go to the king, because which it would be a Ziba, or because thy servant is lame. So it can sound like
Yeah.
the servant is saying, hey, you're crippled. So instead of you going, I'm going to saddle the donkey for myself and I will ride to the king for you
Okay.
because I'm lame.
Okay, I
Or
think the
because
way
you're
I have
lame.
it is correct, and I'll tell you why. So the king said to Mephibosheth, Why didn't you leave with me, Mephibosheth? And he answered, My lord, O king, my servant deceived me, for he said, I will saddle you, Mephibosheth, a donkey, so that I could ride and go be with the king, because I am lame. And here's the reason why I got to be right, is because, and if indeed Ziba was saddling it for himself to go meet the king, he never went. He never went to go meet the king.
So where do you go?
He never left at all. He just deceived the guy. He stood there in Jerusalem. The reason we know this, because now the king's coming back to Jerusalem, and now Ziba's coming out to meet the king. So he never went.
So who was taking care of the crippled guy?
Nobody would have taken care of him if he would have went. But that's why I say I think I'm right there, where I'm saying that my servant deceived me, for he said, I will saddle you a donkey, Mephibosheth, so that you could ride out to go with the king, because you are a lame man. You think?
I don't know. You have to read.
Yeah. Okay, there's number one that puzzled me. And he deceived me to my lord the king. But my lord the king is like an angel of God. Therefore you decide whether I should be punished or not. For all of my father's house are but dead men before you, O king. Yet you set me among them that did eat at your very own table. I have a couple of prayer requests here for you guys before we end today, so you could remember them in your prayers tonight. So remind me. So I have no right to cry any more to the king. That's Mephibosheth talking. And King David said to him, why talk about this anymore? I have said you and Ziba divide the land. And Mephibosheth said to the king, yeah, let him take it all. I'm just happy that my lord the king has come back in peace unto his own house. And Barzillai the Gileadite came down from Rogelim and went over. Look at all these people that are coming out to meet the king. It's like a big old parade to welcome the king back to Jerusalem. And Barzillai came down from Rogelim and went over the Jordan River with the king David to guide him over the Jordan. Now, Barzillai was a very old man. He was 80 years old. Annalise, if it says he was
Four score years.
four score, one score is 20. So he was 80 years old. And he provided the king with food while he was at Mahanaim, for Barzillai was a very rich and well-respected man. And the king said to him, why don't you come over to Jerusalem with me, and I will make a feast for you and me? And Barzillai said to the king, how much longer do I have to live, that I should go up with the king to Jerusalem? Because usually when they went up like that, they would stay like for months. Today I am 80 years old, and can I discern between good and evil? Can I still taste what I eat or what I drink? I'm 80 years old. Can I still hear any more the voice of singing men and women? So why then should I be a burden to my lord the king? I will go a little way over the Jordan River with you. And why should the king recompense me with such a reward? Let me, I ask you, turn back again so that I may die in my own city and be buried in the grave of my father and mother. But behold, my servant Chinham, let him go over with you, my king, and do to him what shall seem good to you. And King David answered, Chimham shall go over with me, and I will do to him that which shall seem good to you. And whatever you shall ask of me, that will I do for you, Barzillai. And all the people went over the Jordan River, and when the king had come over, King David kissed Barzillai and blessed him, and he returned to his own city. Then King David went on to Gilgal, and Chimham went on with him. And all the people of Judah led the king, and also half the people of Israel. And behold, all the men of Israel came to the king and said, why have our brethren, the men of Judah, stolen you away? The men of Israel are coming to complain. They have brought the king and his household and all King David's men over with him over the Jordan River. Doesn't that sound like jealous anger to you? Isn't that awful? And all the men of Judah answered the men of Israel, because the king is a close relative of ours. So why are you angry about it? Has the king paid for any of our meals? Or has he given us any gifts? The answer is no. And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah and said, we have 10 parts in the king, and we also have more rights in King David than you. So why then did you despise us, so that our advice should not be first in bringing back our king? And the words of the men of Judah were stronger in argument than the words of the men of Israel. What do you think the men of Israel meant when they said we have 10 parts in the king? They have 10 tribes
Oh, the tribe.
together in Israel, and Judah only has 2. Okay? Any questions before we go to chapter 20?
Yeah.
Okay. And there happened to be there a man of Belial. Belial is a man of no good, whose name was Sheba, the son of Betri, Sheba. Remember that because his name's gonna come up quite a lot in these next few verses. And there happened to be there a man of Belial, a man of no good, whose name was Sheba, the son of Bichri, a Benjamite. And he blew a trumpet and said, "We don't want to have anything to do with the king. Neither have we inheritance in David, the son of Jesse. Every man return to his tents, O Israel." King David is not going to forget what this guy has just done, okay? So every man of Israel went up from following King David and followed Sheba, the son of Bichri. But the men of Judah remained with the king from Jordan to Jerusalem. And King David came to his palace at Jerusalem. And King David took the 10, remember those 10 concubine women he left behind?
Mhm.
He took those 10 women whom he had left there to take care of the house, and he put them in a ward and fed them, but never went in unto them. So they were locked in till the day they died, living in widowhood. Ah, how
Why would you
mean.
do that?
That's what I said.
They were with Absalom.
Hmm?
Oh, that's right.
Absalom took him to the roof.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
So they were technically, after he
How
left,
about that?
Absalom took them as his
And
wives.
abused them.
So therefore they weren't his wives
Oh,
anymore.
that's right. I totally spaced it out. Okay, now at this point, I really want you to pay close attention to who's who in these next 7 verses. Okay? Because I'm going to ask you to help me out here. Then the king said to Amasa, "Gather the men of Judah in the next 3 days and bring them to me, and you come with them." Now, Amasa is about to die and he doesn't even know it. So Amasa went to assemble the men of Judah, but it was taking him longer than 3 days. So King David said to Abishai, Joab's brother, "Now, Sheba, the son of Bichri, is going to do us more harm than Absalom did." Remember Sheba, the son of Bichri? He blew the trumpet and said, "Let's go. We don't have nothing to do with David." So he goes, "Sheba, the son of Bichri, is going to do us more harm than Absalom did. So take with you the Lord's servants and go after him, lest he enter a fortified city and escape us." Could he be referring to the city of refuge?
Possibly.
Possibly, a big possibility. "Take you the Lord's servants and go after him, lest he enter a fortified city and escape." So I think he's referring to a city of refuge. "And Captain Joab and his men followed after Joab's brother, Abishai, along with the Cherethites and the Pelethites and all the mighty men. And they left Jerusalem to pursue after Sheba, the son of Bichri. When they arrived at the great stone which is in Gibeon, Amasa, the guy who had 3 days to gather Judah together, Amasa joined them at that point, and now he led the army. And Joab's garment that he had on was fastened to him, and on it was a girdle with a sword fastened on his loins in the sheath thereof. And as he went forth, it fell out. And Joab said to Amasa, "Are you feeling okay, my brother?" And Joab grabbed Amasa by the beard with his right hand to kiss him on the cheek. But Amasa paid no attention to the sword that was in Joab's hand. And Joab stabbed Amasa in the 5th rib and shed out his bowels to the ground, and Amasa died. Doesn't it sound like some of these mighty men will do whatever it takes to get the credit for a job well done? I mean, selfish. They'll shed innocent blood to do stuff like this. So Joab and his brother Abishai pursued after Sheba the son of Bichri. And one of Joab's men stood by him and said, "He that favors Joab, and he that is for King David, let him follow after Joab." And Amasa wallowed in the blood in the middle of the highway. And when Joab's man saw, the man that hollered out, saw that all the people had stopped to take notice of Amasa's dead body, that man then removed Amasa out of the highway and threw him into the field and threw a cloth over him. When he was removed from the highway, all the people went on following after Joab, to pursue after Sheba, the son of Bichri. And he went through all the tribes of Israel unto Abel, and unto Beth-machah, and all the Berites, and they gathered themselves together, and they also followed Joab. So now Joab's army is getting bigger, even though their leader Amasa is gone. And they came and surrounded Sheba, the son of Bichri, in Abel of Beth-machah, and they cast up a bank against the city, and it stood in the trench. And all the people that were with Joab beat against the wall of the city to throw it down. Then a wise woman cried out from the city, Hear what I say. Hear what I have to say. I beg you, Joab. Come close so that I may speak with you. And when Joab came near to her, the woman said, now she's talking to him from the other side of the wall. Are you Joab? And he answered, I am he. Then she said to him, Listen to what I have to say. And he answered, I'm listening. Then she spoke, saying, In the old times, they were accustomed to speak, saying, They shall surely ask for advice or counsel from the city of Abel. And there they were able to settle the matter. I am one of them that are peaceable and faithful in Israel. You seek to destroy a city and a mother in Israel. Why will you destroy the inheritance of the Lord? And Joab said, Far be it from me that I should swallow up or destroy. That's just not so. But a man from Mount Ephraim, Sheba, the son of Bichri is his name, has lifted up his hand against King David. If you deliver him only, I will leave the city. And the woman said to Joab, Behold, his head shall be thrown over the wall to you. Then the woman went to all the people in her wisdom. In her wisdom. Do you ever feel like that, Tasha, that you got wisdom and you know it?
Sometimes.
Yeah, because you got God's wisdom. and they agreed with her, so they cut off the head of Sheba, the son of Bichri, and threw it out to Joab. And Joab blew a trumpet, and they retreated from the city, every man to his tent. And Joab returned to Jerusalem to the king. Now, Joab was captain over all the host of Israel now. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was captain over the Cherethites and the Pelethites. And Adoram was captain over the tribute. And Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was the recorder. And Sheba was the scribe. And Zadok and Abiathar were the priests. And Ira, the Jairite, also was a chief ruler for King David. Okay, those are the leaders that were helping King David now. And any questions before we go to 21? Okay, in chapter 21, we have a couple of mysteries to solve. So pay attention, please. This is worse than what we've already gone through that we were confused on. Chapter 21. Then there was a famine in the days of King David, year after year, that lasted 3 years. And King David inquired of the Lord, asking him, Why are we having to suffer through this famine? And the Lord answered, It is because of King Saul and for his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites. Now, it sounds like this is a delayed punishment, since King Saul has been dead well over 3 years now, right? And he's barely sending a famine now, and it's because of King Saul. But keep that in mind. If you sin, that punishment may not always happen right away, unless, of course, you repented for that sin and God granted you mercy and forgiveness. Okay? So, King David called the Gibeonites. Now, the Gibeonites were not from the children of Israel, but from the remnant of the Amorites, and the children of Israel had sworn to them that they would not kill them. But King Saul sought to kill them anyway in his zeal to the children of Israel and Judah. And King David said to them, the Gibeonites, What can I do to make things right for you so that you may bless the inheritance of the Lord? In other words, bless us, Israel, because we're his inheritance. And the Gibeonites said to King David, We don't want any silver or gold that belonged to King Saul, nor from his house. Neither do we want you to kill any man in Israel for this." And King David said, "Whatever you say, that will I do." And they answered King David, "The man that destroyed us and that planned to hurt us till we should be destroyed from remaining in any of the coasts of Israel, let 7 men from the sons of King Saul be delivered to us, and we will hang them unto the Lord in Gibeah of King Saul, whom the Lord did choose." Okay? Now, keep in mind, and I'm going to say this again, we find in many scriptures that even grandsons and great-grandsons, great-great, etc., were called the sons of their grandfathers. Okay? So the Gibeonites are not just asking for King Saul's sons, any of the relations that 7 men they want, okay? And David said, "I will give them up to you." But King David spared Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the grandson of King Saul. He spared him because of the Lord's oath that was between David and Jonathan, the son of Saul. But King David took 2 sons of Rizpah. Now, her name's not going to end there. She'll be back again in a couple more verses. King David took 2 sons of Rizpah, whom she bare to King Saul. Okay? Apparently, she had 2 sons from King Saul. They were Armoni and Mephibosheth. Now, let's not get confused here, okay? This is telling us that King Saul had a son named Mephibosheth, which was Jonathan's brother, right? Okay, King Saul had a son named Mephibosheth, which means Jonathan named his son Mephibosheth after his brother. And not because his brother died, because we're going to read more about his brother here in a minute. So King Saul and Jonathan named both their sons Mephibosheth. And King David also took 5 sons from Michal. Do you remember who she is?
Isn't that the wife he was supposed to marry, but then he married her sister?
He was supposed to marry Michal's sister.
Yeah, that's the mix-up.
But, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. But do you remember? Well, let me read this again. Listen carefully. And the king also took 5 sons from Michal, the daughter of King Saul, whom she had given birth to from Adriel the Mahalathite.
So she slept with someone else?
She was married to the king of the other land while David was on the run from King Saul.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay, now we have to try and solve mystery. In 2 Samuel 6:23, it says, "Therefore Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no child unto the day of her death." Remember that?
Mhm.
So we all figured she never had kids, period. Remember? This scripture leads us to assume that she never had kids, and we also know we should never assume. Instead, get the facts. Now, we also know that King Saul had 2 daughters. The oldest was Merab, whom King Saul promised David he could marry. But in 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 17, it says, "And Saul said to David, Behold, my elder daughter Merab, her will I give you to be a wife." But then out of spite, King Saul changed his mind and gave Merab to Adriel. In 1 Samuel 18:19, it says, "But it came to pass at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given instead to Adriel the Mahalathite to be his wife." I'm going to say that name again. Adriel the Mahalathite. Now let me go way back up here again where it says, "And King David also took the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of King Saul, whom she gave birth to from Adriel the Mahalathite." What? What does that sound like to you? Sounds to me like she had kids from her sister's husband. That's her sister's husband. Okay? And it never mentions that in the scriptures what happened in between. But once again, King Saul took his daughter Michal, who was David's wife now, and gave her to, in 1 Samuel 25:44, it says, but here you go. Here's what you were looking for, Sydney. 1 Samuel 25:44. But King Saul had given Michal, his daughter, David's wife, to Phalti, the son of Laish, not to Adriel the Mahalathite. What? It sounds like Michal was first married to David, then Phalti, but she had 5 sons from her sister's husband, Adriel the Mahalathite? What? Am I reading this wrong? Somebody help me here. You guys need to go back and read this. Do you see where I'm coming from?
I'm looking for something else.
Oh, okay, but will you do that? Do me a favor and go back and read that. Am I losing my mind?
I don't know.
And King David delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonites, these 7 men, and they hanged them in the hill before the Lord. And all 7 of them were put to death in the first days of the beginning of barley harvest. And Rizpah, the woman whose 2 sons were given to the Gibeonites to be hung on the wall. Here comes Rizpah again. Here you go. Ready? Rizpah, the woman whose 2 sons were given to the Gibeonites to be hung on the wall, she took sackcloth and spread it for her on a rock, and day after day from the beginning of a harvest until water dropped on them from out of the heaven. She stood there and would not let the birds of the air rest on her sons. She shooed them away, rest on her sons' dead bodies day by day. And she stood on that sackcloth beneath the dead bodies. She would not even let the beasts of the field by night get close to those dead bodies, her 2 sons. And it was told to King David what Rizpah, the concubine of King Saul, had done. And King David went and took the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son from the men of Jabesh Gilead, who had stolen them bodies from the street of Bethshan, where the Philistines had hanged them, when the Philistines had killed King Saul in Gilboa. And he brought from there the bones of King Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son, along with the bones of the 7 men that were hanging. And the bones of King Saul and Jonathan, they were buried in the country of Benjamin in Zelah, in the sepulchre of Kish, King Saul's father. And they performed all that the king David commanded. And after that, God heard their prayers and stopped the drought in the land. Moreover, the Philistines declared war again with Israel. And King David and his servants went down and fought against the Philistines, and King David became very weak. I think he passed out. And Ishbibnob, who was one of the sons of Goliath the giant, whose spear weighed 300 shekels of brass, he was also girded with a new sword, and he thought he had killed King David. He saw him go down. And Abishai rescued the king and killed Ishbibnob the Philistine. Then King David's men swore to him, saying, "You shall never again come out to battle with us, so that you shall not quench the light of Israel." In other words, you're our leader. We can't afford to lose you. You're going to stay home next time. And never again are you coming to battle. Because David's starting to get up in age now, no? And it came to pass after this, that there was again another battle with the Philistines at Gob. Then Sabichai, the Hushathite, killed Saph, who was another son of Goliath the giant. Okay, that's 2 sons, right? And there was again a battle in Gob against the Philistines, where Elhanan, a Bethlehemite, killed the brother of Goliath, the staff of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. And there was yet another battle in Gath, where there was a man of great stature. In other words, he was a giant of a man. That man had on each hand 6 fingers, and on both feet 6 toes, 24 total. Kimson, what could you do with an extra couple of fingers?
I don't know.
What about an extra couple of toes? Order bigger shoes, wider shoes.
I just call him a wolf.
That man had on each hand 6 fingers, and on both feet 6 toes, 24 total. And he also was born to Goliath, the giant. And when he defied Israel, Jonathan, the son of Shimei, the brother or relative of David, killed him. These 4 were born to the giant Goliath in Gath. I only counted 3. 3 sons of Goliath, and then Goliath's brother. and fell by the hand of King David or by the hand of his servants. Okay, anybody have any questions before we go to 22? In chapter 22, King David is going to read to the Lord the words of a song he wrote. So try to stay with me. I'm trying real hard not to put you to sleep, okay? Chapter 22. And King David spoke to the Lord the words of this song in the day that the Lord had delivered him out from the hand of all his enemies and out of the hand of King Saul. And he said, The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, the God of my rock. In him I will trust. He's my shield and the horn of my salvation, my tower and my refuge, my Savior. You saved me from violence. I will call on the Lord who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. When the waves of death compassed me, the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of hell surrounded me. The snares of death prevented me. In my distress, I called on the Lord and cried to my God, and he did hear my voice out from his temple, and my cry did enter into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations of heaven moved and shook because he was angry. So when you hear about earthquake, the Lord is angry. Okay? Even when he sends thunder and lightning, the Lord is trying to get someone's attention. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations of heaven moved and shook because God was angry. There went up a smoke of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also, and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode on a cherub, and did fly, and he was seen on the wings of the wind. And he made darkness pavilions all around him, dark waters and thick clouds of sky. Through the brightness before him were coals of fire kindled, clouds of the skies. Oh no. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice, and he sent out arrows and scattered them, lightning and confused them. And the channels of the sea appeared. The foundations of the world were discovered at the rebuking of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils. He sent from above, he took me, he drew me out of my waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy and from them that hated me, for they were too strong for me. They prevented me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my support. He brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. The Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands, as he recompensed me. So does it sound to you like cleanliness is godliness? I mean, that sentence, cleanliness is like godliness, is not in the Bible. But the closest you could get to it is right here when he said, The Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands, has he recompensed me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and have not wickedly departed from my God. For all his judgments were before me, and as for his statutes, I did not depart from them. I was also blameless before him, and have kept myself from any sins. Therefore the Lord has rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanness in his eyesight. With the merciful you will show yourself merciful. With the upright man you will show yourself upright. With the pure you shall show yourself pure, and with the froward you will show yourself unpleasant. And the afflicted people you will save, but your eyes are on the haughty, so that you may bring them down. For you are my lamp, O Lord, and the Lord will lighten my darkness. For by you I have run through a troop. By my God I have leaped over a wall. As for God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is tried. He is a shield to all them that trust in him. For who is God except the Lord? And who is a rock except our God? God is my strength and power, and he makes my way perfect or complete. He makes my feet like deer's feet, and sets me on my high places. He teaches my hands how to war, so that a bow of steel is broken by my arms. You have also given me the shield of my salvation, and your gentleness has made me great. You have enlarged my steps under me, so that my feet did not slip. I have pursued my enemies and destroyed them, and turned not again till I have consumed them. and I have consumed them and wounded them so that they could not get up. Yeah, they have fallen under my feet, for you have girded me with strength to fight in battles. Then them that rose up against me have you subdued under me. You have also given me the necks of my enemies so that I might destroy them that hate me. They looked, but there was no one to save, even unto the Lord, but he did not answer them. Then I did beat them as small as the dust of the earth. I did stamp them as the mire of the street, and did spread them abroad. You also have delivered me from the strivings of my own people. You have kept me to be head of the heathen, a people which I didn't know would serve me. Strangers shall submit themselves to me as soon as they hear. They shall be obedient to me. Strangers shall fade away, and they shall be afraid to come out of their hiding places. And this sounds like us. This is how people will treat us. They'll be treating us good because of God, and God will continue to bless us, and God will keep us from being afraid of our enemies. Strangers shall fade away, and they shall be afraid to come out of their hiding places. The Lord lives, and blessed be my rock. Blessed be my rock, and exalted be the God of the rock of my salvation. It is God that avenges me, and that brings me down, that brings down the people under me, and that brings me forth from my enemies. You also have given me victory over them that rose up against me. You have delivered me from the violent man. Therefore I will give thanks to you, O Lord, among the heathen, and I will sing praises to your name. He is the tower of salvation for his king, and shows mercy to his anointed, unto me, David, and to his seed forevermore. Any questions? I imagine that would make a real pretty song. And I know David wrote these words because he wrote a lot of songs when he was tending to his father's sheep when he was younger. Chapter 23. Now, these are the last words of King David. David, the son of Jesse, said, and the man who raised up on high, the anointed of the God of Jacob, and the sweetest psalmist of Israel said, the Spirit of the Lord spoke through me, and his word was in my tongue. The God of Israel said, the rock of Israel spoke to me. He that rules over me, over men, must be just, ruling in the fear of God. And he shall be as the light of the morning, when the sun rises, even a morning without clouds, as the tender grass springing out of the earth, like clear shining after a rain. Although my house be not so with God, yet he has made with me an everlasting agreement, ordered in all things and sure. For this is all my salvation and all my desire, although he make it not to grow. But the sons of Belial shall be all of them as thorns thrust away, because they cannot be taken with hands. But the man that shall touch them must be armed with iron and the staff of a spear, and they shall be utterly burned with fire in the same place. The sons of Belial are men that are no good, never up to no good. They're always up to no good. At this point in this chapter, King David is going to talk about all the great men that served him. Okay? These be the names of the mighty men whom David had. The Tachmonite that sat in the seat, chief among the captains. The same was Adino the Eznite. He lifted up his spear against 800 men whom he killed at one time by himself. And after him was Eleazar, the son of Dodo the Ahohite, one of the three mighty men with David. When they defied the Philistines, they were gathered there together to battle, and the men of Israel were gone away. He, Eleazar, arose and smote the Philistines until his hand was tired, and his hand held tight to that sword. And the Lord wrought a great victory that day, and the people returned after him, but only to gather the spoil. He alone won that battle. And after him was Shammah, the son of Agi, the Hararite. And the Philistines were gathered together into a troop, where there was a piece of ground full of lentils, and the people fled from the Philistines. But he stood in the midst of the ground and defended it, and slew the Philistines by himself, and the Lord wrought a great victory that day. And those three of the 30 chief went down and came to King David in the harvest time into the cave of Adullam, and the troop of the Philistines camped in the valley of Rephaim. And David was then in hold, and the garrison of the Philistines was then in Bethlehem. And David longed for and said out loud, this is what he longed for. Oh, that someone would give me a drink of water from the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate. You know the difference, the taste between water that comes out of a fountain and that comes out of a bottle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nasty once you got used to bottled water. The water from fountain from your sink is nasty. And so David said, yeah, if someone would give me a drink of water from the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate. And those three mighty men, they got up without letting King David know, and they broke through the host of the Philistines and drew water out of the well of Bethlehem that was by the gate and took it and brought it to David. You think David was happy? Oh, nevertheless, he would not drink it. Instead, he poured it out unto the Lord, and he said, Be it far from me, O Lord, that I should do this, drink this. Is this not the blood of men who almost sacrificed their life for me? They could have been killed. Therefore, King David would not drink it. These things did these three mighty men. And Abishai, Joab's brother, was chief among those three. And Abishai lifted up his spear against 300 and slew them by himself, and had the name among the three. Was he not most honorable among those three? Therefore he was their captain. However, he attained not unto the first three. And Benai, the son of Jehoiada, Benai, the son of Jehoiada, the son of the valiant man of Kabzeel, who had done many acts, he killed 2 lion-like men. What do you think a lion-like man was?
Maybe hairy.
That's what I'm thinking too. I mean, I don't believe that it was like
A lion creature.
what's that guy, that big man in the forest name, and then nobody can't find him?
Oh, Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. It's not. I don't think they're like Bigfoot, but I think I agree with you. They were pretty hairy men.
They're just hairy and long hair.
Yeah, just hairy. But he slew 2 lion-like men of Moab. He went down also and slew a lion in the midst of a pit during winter. And he slew an Egyptian, a goodly man, and the Egyptian had a spear in his hand, but he went down to him with a staff and plucked the spear out of the Egyptian's hand and killed him with his own spear. These things did Benai, the son of Jehoiada, and had the name among 3 mighty men. He was more honorable than the 30, but he didn't compare to the first 3. And David set over his guard Asahel. Do you remember who Asahel was? He was Joab and Abishai's brother, the one that ran swift like a deer. He was chasing the enemy and they killed him. David set him over his guard. Asahel, the brother of Joab, was one of the 30. Elhanan, now I'm going to skip a lot of the words after their names, but Elhanan, Shammah, Halika, Helez, Ira, Ibazar, Labunai, Zalman, Mohare, Helab, Itai, Benai, Hidai, Abilban, Asmaveth, Eliabah, Jonathan, Shammah, Ahiam, Eliphalet, Eliam, Hezrai, Pire, Eagle, Bani, Zelek, Nahari, Ira, Gareb, Neriah, 37 in all. And I didn't count 37 when I wrote all these down. I didn't get that many. Chapter 24. Any questions? And again, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. And he moved King David to go against Israel to say, Go and count Israel and Judah. So the king said to Joab, the captain of the host who was with him, Go now throughout all the tribes of Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, and count the people. Now remember, God made David say this because he's going to punish Israel. But I'm confused. Almost like what we said a while ago. Why did he do that? and so that I may know how many people we have. And Joab said to the king, now the Lord your God adds to the people. However, there are many people, however, there are 100-fold, and that the eyes of my Lord the king may see it. And he'll let you know. But why would you, the king, want to do this thing? Why are you asking me to go do that? He knew it was wrong. Nevertheless, the king's words prevailed against Joab and against the captains of the host. And Joab and the captains of the host went out from the presence of the king to count the people of Israel. And they passed over Jordan and set up camp in Aroer on the right side of the city that lies in the midst of the river of Gad, toward Jazer. Then they came to Gilead and to the land of Tatim Hadishi, and they came to Danjan and about to Zidon, and came to the stronghold of Tyre, and to all the cities of the Hivites and of the Canaanites, and they went out to the south of Judah, even to Beersheba. All these places I mentioned, there were Israelites and Judites that they had to count. So when they had going through all the land, they returned to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. How long did it take them to count, Kinson?
Almost a year.
Yep, almost a year, 9 months and 20 days. And Joab gave the total count to King David, and there were in Israel 800 strong men. They were only counting men, by the way, men that were able to go to war. 800 strong men that drew the sword, and the men of Judah were 500,000 men. And King David's heart suddenly felt really heavy on him. King David's heart smote him after he had counted the people, and now he realized he did something wrong. Okay? And King David said to the Lord, I have sinned greatly in what I have done, and now I beg you, O Lord, take away the sin from me, for I have done very foolishly. Now here is a sin that is not forgiven by God, and God chooses to punish Israel for it. Okay? So the ones that are not forgiven by God, he's going to punish us. Hopefully he'll forgive them all, I don't know. But when King David got up in the morning, the word of the Lord came to the prophet Gad, David's seer or prophet, saying, Go and say to King David, Thus saith the Lord, I will offer you your choice of 3 punishments. Choose one so that I may do it to you. So Gad came to King David and said to him, Here's your 3 choices, David. Shall 7 years of famine come to you in your land? Now, I'm going to ask you, which one would you choose? Or will you run for 3 months from your enemies while they chase you and your army? Or, number 3, that there be 3 days of pestilence in your land where many people will die. So if you were given these choices, which one would you choose? They're all bad. Which one would you choose, Ken? You think?
I'm stuck between the pestilence or the
What about you, Sid?
I'm stuck between 3 days of pestilence and 3 months of running.
Is that what you're going to say?
I was going to say the few years of famine.
Yeah, but they just got done having 3 years of famine already, and they already
No matter
had a
which
hard
one you
time.
choose, people are going to get killed. No matter what you choose. What would you choose?
The
Of
one
the
that
3
you would
evils?
think that would not take as many lives.
So you would go with David. He chose the 3 days only.
Yeah, I would choose that because there's no other way. I don't want to do 7 years. I don't want to do 3 months.
Because you'll probably lose more people in the famine the most, I would imagine.
No, listen to this.
I don't know. They're awful.
Yeah, they're awful because this pestilence did not stop at nighttime while they were sleeping. It went from the early morning till the very end of the
All
3 days.
constant, just constant.
Constant.
Yeah, I just imagine pestilence as like this one that from Egypt with
Yeah.
nonstop.
Yeah,
Depends on
it's
which one.
sickness.
The
Okay,
bugs.
love you. Now tell me and see what answer I shall return to the Lord who sent me. That's the prophet talking. And King David said to Gad, I am in a great strait. I'm in trouble no matter what I pick. Let us fall now into the hand of the Lord, for his mercies are great, and let me not fall into the hand of men. In other words, don't let me be killed by the men that would be chasing us, But if I'm going to die, let it be by the Lord's hand. For his mercies are great, and let me not fall into the hand of man. So the Lord sent a pestilence upon Israel from the morning even to the end of the third day, and 70,000 men from Dan even to Beersheba died. And when the angel stretched out his hand upon Jerusalem to destroy it, the Lord repented of his evil he caused and said to the angel that destroyed the people, "That's enough! Stop now your hand." And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. And David spoke to the Lord when he saw the angel. This is the last person you know who saw an angel.
A long time ago.
It was an animal.
Oh, donkey?
The donkey, but after the donkey spoke, then
The guy that was
the
like
guy that saw the angel with the sword in his hand. David spoke to the Lord when he saw the angel that smote the people and said, "Lo, I have sinned and I have done wickedly. But these sheep," he's talking about Israel, "what have they done? I pray that you will let your hand be against me and against my father's house." And Gad came that day to King David and said to him, "Go up, build an altar unto the Lord in the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite." And David did according to the saying of Gad, and he went up as the Lord commanded. And Araunah looked and saw the king and his servants coming toward him. And Araunah went out and bowed himself before the king with his face to the ground. And Araunah said, "Why has my lord the king come to me?" And David said, "To buy your threshing floor from you, so I can build an altar unto the Lord, so that the plague may be stopped from the people." And Araunah said to the king, "Let my lord the king take and offer up what seems good to you. Behold, I have oxen here for burnt sacrifices, and threshing instruments and other instruments for oxen for wood. All these things Araunah offered to the king for free." And Araunah said to the king, "The Lord thy God accept you." And the king said to Araunah, "No, but I will surely buy it from you for a price. Neither will I offer burnt offerings unto the Lord my God from that which cost me nothing." So King David bought the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver, and the king built an altar unto the Lord there, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. So the Lord was entreated for the land, and the plague was stopped in Israel. Finally, that concludes our lesson for today, and we are done with the book of Samuel. Does anybody have any questions before I end the session? I pray God spoke to you through this lesson and you were able to take something from it that would make your life better for God. After all, you are the servants, are God's servants. I love you, everybody, and I pray you all have a wonderful and safe weekend. Our next lesson should be on Thursday, April 2nd. I'll see you then.
Oh, prayers.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Annalise is asking for you to pray for her grandson, Tito, to come home from Phoenix, Arizona, and for her son, Eddie, that hasn't contacted me since he left North Carolina. She also wants to pray for, hold on. For her because she's having a root canal tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Okay, Annalise, we're praying for you. Love you.